Yesterday's conspiracy theories, tomorrow's headlines. Most are still asleep, and I ain't talking about no theories. Tomorrow's headlines. Most are still asleep, and I ain't talking about no bedtime. Illusion is not a media, and I get your head right. The Greek theorist illusion was called media, and I'm not no longer smashing red wine. Though I can hear them smashing chiming feels like no longer smashing red wine. Though I can hear them bells chiming feels like the final mind is foolish. Obey and then smash. Don't get used to final mind, take control and lay. And then make a load of it. Don't get used to it. You take control and learn to use it. Make a load of it. This whole world is here and abuse it. Know a bit about everything and everything about nothing. Get out my noggin where you can drown shocking. This whole world is here and abuse it. Know a bit about everything and everything about nothing. Get out my noggin where you can drown shocking. You sit a sound wanting to like this about profit. I'm a big sound copy. I'm looking your house. I'll be out with the count with the sounds and I'm down for the beat. No beat down. I mean, I'm on the count with the sounds and I'm down for the beat. No beat down. I mean, all in the mind. I'll free now. Still sick with it. Healthy how? Help me down. All in the mind. I'll free now. Still sick with it. Healthy how? Reasons to be out. Well freaked out. I don't reach out. I seek out to speak out. I recount the reasons to be out.
Hello. Welcome everybody to the 509 Divine Pines podcast. I am your host, Joseph Daniel Pena. Thank you for joining in tonight. Guys, it is a chill episode, a Twitter Tuesday, just brushing by things that I might have missed over the summer when I wasn't recording. So, just stick right here and like, subscribe on down. Please, if you guys could, donate to 509 Divine Pines at Cash App, PayPal, and Buy Me a Coffee. I am a bit devastated over this last summer as I haven't been recording because I've been in a couple car wrecks and I am healing. I am getting myself back on my feet. I'm just like a bit distraught in general, right? You know, car wrecks are never fun. It can take a lot of toll on you. I don't know why this isn't going onto YouTube. One moment. So, yeah, you know, the wrecks have just been a bit much on my body and my spirit. It's taking a toll on my car. It's the car I was driving is inoperable. Everything, you know, just life slowed down. I haven't been able to do much. I did start a GoFundMe for anybody out there who wants to donate. So if you guys could please go donate, that'd be very much appreciated. You can go find the GoFundMe, Joseph Daniel Pena. You can find the GoFundMe on my Facebook. But enough about that, guys. If you guys want to, please go check out my sponsor over at shopc60.com. By far the best supplement that I recommend, I take personally, and I love. This isn't them paying me for this ad. This is actually me doing this out of my own free will because I see so many people out there who want a boost in their energy. And when I tell them A, B, C, D, you know, a lot of people are confused. But if I just tell them one product that can really change their life, and one product that I trust, it is C60 with a skincare line with oil for your consumption in the morning with coffee. You can have oil for your dogs, your cats, your horses, all sorts of applications with this possible. And by far the easiest to take. It's just liquid and doesn't really taste like much, and it is very impactful, meaning within 1 minute of you taking C60 you'll feel it, and if you don't, you can contact me and chew me out, but you're gonna 60 and you're gonna love it because you're gonna suddenly be bright-eyed, clairvoyant. You can hear clear, you can think clear, your energy sharp, you can talk clear. Yeah, Yeah, go to shopc60.com and use coupon code 509 Divine Pines. Please just thank me later. All right, guys, we're gonna get into this Twitter Tuesday today, man. Yeah, so I'm gonna start off with a quick little video while I prep the rest of this. So, where is the rest of this? I'm splitting my screen into two for the first time, and so I'm having to see two different things.
All these major alien ship, and it flies over the Vatican, and it goes over the Mayan temples down in Mexico. And I said, Lord, is there two of these? Because I keep praying about this. And he said, no, it's just one. And that's what's going to make everybody freak out, because they're going to see it moving across the ocean. You understand? It's going to be something that's going to be on TV. It's going to move across the ocean, and people are going to freak out in the days ahead. Then I saw little bitty ships coming out of this mothership that were balls of light, and it wasn't a real ship. It was demonic looking light that was traveling around causing confusion in our skies. You say, Brandon, that sounds way out there. Yeah, it is. It was way out there to me. I didn't even want to talk about it, but I'm instructed to. You say, well, Brandon, that sounds like you're on something. Well, no, folks, I'm just here to warn you. I'm just here to warn you. And as wild out there as a sound, fearful sights you will see that will bring you to your knee. I'm here to warn you. The enemy is not playing fair with trying to deceive people with what's coming. He's going to throw all the curveballs he can to try to deceive the nations. When the Antichrist steps on the scene and he says, hey, we have a solution for all the problems in the days ahead. I have peace. I'm going to bring peace. I'm going to bring in prosperity. I'm going to do all this. But all you have to do is bow your knee to me on Fridays. And you're going to have to get a chip. You're going to have to do all these things. But it's going to be a solution, because we're going to take care of all this with.
And if you don't know what he's talking about, check it out. Breaking just today. NASA quietly activates planetary defense network for 3i Atlas. So now NASA considers 3i Atlas an enemy object. And we are about to see Air Force, Space Force all go into play. Very interesting. The U.S. shutdown is in our 22nd day, and it just so happens to be that because of this government shutdown, we can't use our telescopes here in America. But check this out. This is live. This is fresh video from Japan. They leaked their satellite footage of this 3i Atlas. I don't know. Maybe it is a spaceship. Holy shit. What happened to the video? Apologize, guys. Where happened to the video? Oh, there we go. There we go. So let's. I'm gonna back out of this and then zoom in like this. All right, I'll let that play right there. So we're gonna restart it. So 3i Atlas. This is the video of 3i Atlas. That looks insane. So what if Star Trek is right? Star Wars is right about all of this. Move out of my. Dude, I don't want you by my head. Yeah, guys, this is getting very confusing because I, for a second, thought it was just Project Bluebeam, but it just doesn't seem normal. This whole situation between NASA, Avi Loeb, the American space agencies, and what's going on around the world, it just doesn't add up. Like, I can't put my finger on it yet. All I do know is that there's something very serious about this. There's something very serious about this 3i Atlas. I can't tell if it's serious because it's fake or it's serious because it's real. Here's more on Charlie Kirk
case assassination. I actually believe that this was a military hit that involved foreign actors and also literal actors. I believe that that day ran something akin to JFK's assassination. I believe that there were therefore multiple decoys on the ground. I do not believe, just so I'm clear here, that the person who was walking up the stairs killed Charlie. In fact, my suspicion is that that photo was not even shot on the same day. I do not believe that the person who ran across Losey rooftop killed Charlie. I think it was another decoy. We all know that decoy George Zinn didn't kill Charlie, and I received an interesting tip about him as well, that he's much more connected than what meets the surface. He potentially has connections to the federal department, familial connections to the federal department, and we are prodding that. It's getting interesting.
All right, sorry.
Anyway, that would suggest that there.
Sorry, guys. Not sure why this is suddenly bugging out.
Thus, for a total of 4 decoys, like George Zinn, Staircase Guy, Maroon Shirt Guy, and Losey Center Guy, none of which I believe actually pulled the trigger. Call it a hunch. I think it's much more likely that Lance Twiggs is the one that is walking in that maroon shirt. His build is nothing like Tyler Robinson's build. Lance Twiggs is thinner. And obviously, I'm speculating driving around campus on that day, therefore assisting in the costume changes, likely picking up clothing. And as we broke the story, Tyler was seen at Dairy Queen. And what was he seen doing, as I told you? Dumping clothing in the cemetery.
Okay. She's on to something. This is check it out.
I figured a shot would be a little bit. Basically, I just saw it hit him in the chest, and then all of a sudden just tons of blood gushing right out where his heart is, and then he like fell over and slumped down, and everybody got down and was screaming, and then we all ran.
Can you describe just, did he appear to be moving afterward, or what?
Not at all. I personally believe he was dead on impact.
Oh my goodness.
Evidence locked away. Every trace of that day erased. The witnesses are terrified to speak, except one. And today, he's done being silent. A Turning Point USA insider, a donor who knew Charlie Kirk personally, is stepping forward. He's violating the gag order because he says the cover-up isn't just criminal, it's historic. He calls it the biggest inside job since 9/11, and he's ready to name names. According to him, the rot started from within. Traitors inside Charlie's own circle, people he trusted, conspired to end his life. And the reason why is more terrifying than anyone imagined. Stay with us, because once you hear what he has to say, you'll understand why they are disappearing people to keep this story buried. Before we dive in, did you know that Israel has quietly bought up most of the world's most popular VPNs?
Ooh.
World Service has compiled material on over 160 cases where children have been shot in Gaza and found that in 95 cases, the child was shot in the head or the chest. In most of these cases, the victim was under 12 years old. July this year. The BBC World Service has compiled material on over 160 cases where children have been shot.
Horrible. This is a Freemason ritual. There's parts of it, but minutes of it. They're very weird. They're very weird.
I'm glad to meet you. Give me the secrets of a master mason, or I will take your life. This is no time or place for man, no secrets. Talk not to me about time, place, patience, or the completion of the temple. Give me the secrets of a master mason, or I will take your life. It behooves you in this rude and violent manner thus to demand no secrets. When the temple's complete, if found worthy, you'll then receive them lawfully as I have. You have passed Jubilo. Me you cannot pass. My name is Jubilo, well known for my determination of character. What I undertake, that I do. Give me the secrets of a master mason instantly, for I will take your life. I will not. What? Still persist? Then die.
So from the beginning, they are acting, and you wonder why Freemasons and these secret society members are all looked at as actors. It's because they are probably hidden behind their skin. That's billions.
Because we can't buy one of theirs. Open up the market. Very, very well, Clarice.
We have capitalism and we embrace it. We have.
Was a genetically engineered bioweapon that targets black and white people, but spared Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people.
I didn't say it was deliberately targeted. I just quoted an NIH-funded and NIH published study.
Did you say that it targets black and white people, but spared Ashkenazi Jews?
I quoted a study, Your Honor. I quoted an NIH study that showed that.
I'll take that as a yes. I have to move on, I have to move on. Yes or no, Mr. Kennedy? Did you say that COVID-19 was a genetically engineered bioweapon that targets black and white people, but spared Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people?
I didn't say it was deliberately targeted. I just quoted an NIH-funded and NIH published study.
Did you say that it targets black and white people, but spared Ashkenazi Jews?
I quoted a study, Your Honor. I quoted an NIH study that showed that.
I'll take that as a yes. I have to move on, I have to move on. Yes or no, Mr. Kennedy? Did you say that COVID?
Man, oh man.
Whoever's controlling this psyop around the Charlie Kirk assassination, like, you guys couldn't make it any more obvious that you guys are hiding something and that you guys are completely full of shit and most likely covering up the assassination of Charlie Kirk on behalf of Israel, a foreign intelligence agency, or our own military, our CIA, who literally assassinated a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil in front of the entire world. He publicly executed Charlie Kirk in front of the entire world, maybe to send a message, I don't know. But when you're going to hear this story by Ian, I mean, Ian's done such a great job, man. I really want to get this guy a massive amount of credit. He goes by @IWENDTSTER. I can't even say that last. Wenster, if I'm saying that right. Ian Wenster, or Ian @IWenster over here. He put out this tweet. He says, proof that Charlie Kirk security told local law enforcement they didn't need to work with them, and that over a month ago, local Leos and everybody involved were already being told to stay quiet, a month before the official gag orders. So, is it about a fair trial for Tyler? What do you guys think's going on here? Some shit's just not adding up to me. I want to know what you guys think, and I want you guys to check out this video by Ian. He's absolutely crushing it. I'll leave links to it below. Make sure you swing down there and give this man a follow. Check this out.
Bet you didn't see this. Now, truth be told, this part you've probably already seen. It happened yesterday. However, I can guarantee you didn't see the part that follows.
This is bad. This is real bad. Even mainstream media is calling this one of the most secretive trials in history. The judge is making everything secret with gag orders, including the police reports and 3,000 witnesses, associates, or anyone that knew Charlie Kirk. They're saying effectively any talk show host that knew him or talked to him is under gag order.
Sorry, guys. Been sick a couple days and saw this yesterday, but I wanted to verify that it was actually real because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But alas, it's real. Watch this.
There is a substantial amount of discovery in this case, Your Honor. It's voluminous, to say the least.
His lawyers entered their formal appearance and declined to waive his right to a preliminary hearing. Judge Tony Graff has issued a gag order preventing anyone associated with the case from talking about it. It's to avoid pretrial publicity, already a big problem in a case with massive media exposure involving a high-profile figure like Charlie Kirk. But the judge wants to ensure a fairer trial for Robinson. It's also brought up a big issue involving thousands of people.
So this is real. Here are the actual gag orders. You can read them right here. Just hold down and screenshot. You know, so after I saw all this stuff about the gag orders, I thought, that's really weird. Because if you remember, I told you that I had a source who was actually on the ground the day that Charlie was shot, somebody who was in law enforcement. And I basically knew a lot of the things before it ever hit the news. And so that's one of the reasons why I've been so outspoken about this, because it hasn't made any sense at all. Well, I got to thinking, I remember my source telling me something about how they were trying to keep everybody very tight-lipped. And so I went back through our messages and I found this. So on September 27th, my source said, I can't talk about it yet. Admin is on high alert about leaks. Blank advised anyone leaking information about this case would receive heavy reprimand. And I said, I'm convinced this was a hit, dude. This Tyler Patsy thing stinks to high heaven. So everyone is being very tight-lipped. Oh, for sure, bro. Once I got on scene, I could tell something was very wrong. And I was thinking about our conversation. I was thinking about a couple of other things he was talking about. And I remembered that one of the things he was also talking about was the fact that he verified with UVU officers at UVU campus, that Charlie's team wouldn't coordinate with them regarding security, which I thought was really weird. Now, I don't know the exact protocol with this. I don't know if this is a normal thing. Is it not weird that the guest security wouldn't coordinate with the officers on campus? Like, is it not weird that they wouldn't coordinate with local officers? Is that just a normal thing? I don't know. But I just thought it was really weird. All the people who have called people like me crazy for saying that there's far more to this than just what they're telling us. It might be time to start considering that maybe you're wrong, because I'll tell you what, if you want to convince people that there's nothing weird going on with this assassination, if you want to convince them that there are no conspiracy theories and that it really is just what you're telling them, you don't put gag orders on every single person that was involved in it, including all 3,000 of the attendees. You just don't do that. But see, that's what's been done. And so, once again, I'll tell you, there's definitely more to this assassination than we think. We just witnessed our modern day JFK. But hey, I'm just a conspiracy theorist, right?
You know, There is a lot of covering up with this assassination where they don't want people to talk. The Turning Point crew, the people at the college, the people at the event. It doesn't make sense. Why would they if there was truth to it? But there probably isn't truth to it, so they don't want people talking. Yes. And right here, look. So Tyler Robinson was actually caught on camera in the UVU courtyard at 12:23, but at the same time, he was supposedly on the rooftop. No, they had a stunt double looking like Tyler Robinson. Check this out.
I've been to Target, I've been to Walmart, I've been to Aldi, Food Lion, Piggly Wiggly, Whole Foods, and Fresh Thyme. Every single one of them has a prepackaged ground meat that will not tell you, number one, where it comes from, number two, where it's packaged, and what kind of procedures that it goes through in order for us to know that it's safe. If you ask them behind the counter, they're going to tell you there's a thing on the back, scan it with your phone, and it's going to take you to a website that the FDA has put out there. And what it's going to say is, it could either be 3D printed, it could be a cloned animal. Let's just put it out there. If that's a problem, well, TikTok, you need to check the FDA website because it says it could be. Folks, God, I gotta be careful. Let's just say this. Our food ain't food anymore.
And remember, it was a couple years ago where there was a bill passed by the White House and the Biden administration and the rest of these guys that they could legally, biologically change our food, our health products, and everything that we can consume or be poisoned by to fit with their agenda of health, meaning whichever way that they think viruses or they think our health should be, they can legally change it without us knowing. So they can biologically clone meats in case that they want to put vaccines into the meats to heal us from a certain sickness, in which they have already admitted to that there's vaccines in some of these meats and some of these animals that are being passed to you. So you're getting the cure even if you don't want it in some of these places. I'm not too sure what we're looking at. This is a U.S. nuclear force conducting data transfer on a frequency. I'm not too sure what that is yet. We're gonna keep on going. So here, check out David Grush.
Person presentation with David Grush as the speaker. This was mostly all private citizens, as in professors, lawyers, business people, a few scientists, retired military, current FBI, and other government agency members. In the end, we were allowed to ask questions. Some asked him about this, and what he said was that he was part of an extremely secret program that had figured out how to track and find UAPs in our atmosphere and near Earth orbit. He said his op-ed will include much more details regarding this. It was hosted by a Wall Street bigwigs and his lawyer friend. It was sort of a small saloon-style talm. David also did it for free, even went as far as to fly in to NYC just for this. He had arrived only a few hours beforehand and then left first thing the next day. The idea was to get a group of both skeptics and believers from all these different walks of life for a talk regarding David and the things he has said. Most of the people that left had left as believers, or at the very least believed that David was not lying and truly believed everything he said. He also mentioned a few other things that I haven't heard him say before. Like that, he was told about a UAP that was in our possession that had a diameter of around 40 feet. But once you went inside, it was the size of a football field. They believed that the object was somehow able to manipulate both space and time. He also said that the object was both using and creating energy that was more than a terawatt when measured, which is an absolutely ridiculous amount of power, something along the ions of 1 trillion watts. He also mentioned that he had recently been informed that a U.S. adversary was considering full disclosure to get out ahead of the U.S., and that he passed this information along to the U.S. government. He also alluded to the retaliation that WQS had taken against him. It sounded pretty terrifying, and he wasn't the only one to be retaliated against. Multiple people involved in not only his investigation, but also his fellow peers in the UAP task force, such as Jay Stratton, were also threatened. He wouldn't go too much into since it's an open investigation, but these people pretty showed him that they could touch him or his family anytime they wanted. He also mentioned that the U.S. has taken part in a fair amount of crash retrievals before 1933. Also, that we wouldn't be surprised by what the NHI look like, such as they look like the typical gray, and they aren't sure where these beings have come from. There is also a chance that they are extra-dimensional, but that it could also just seem this way because of the technology they use, rather than them being actual extra-dimensional beings. Interestingly, he also mentioned how many people know the full scope of the phenomenon to be no more than 50 people, but it wasn't clear whether this meant 50 people currently alive or 50 people ever in history. All in all, it was extremely interesting.
Man, it seems this UFO information is top of the food chain. Very, very top of the food chain, above any medical information, above any trafficking information. This is the tip of the spear. We have a commenter saying it begins. I can't believe the synthetic material is starting this soon. I hope this doesn't happen. I have definitely seen some of the material. It's helpful but dangerous. I hope they know what they are doing, because DNA is not as similar as we know. Everyone is different. We have similarities, but we also have differences based on genetic makeup, and that is very true. Very, very true. There's all these different blood types, and so we see that there's different remnants of probably ancient cultures hidden within these blood types, which is something that they want to recreate and bring out. They some of these elites in their medical ideologies is that they want to recreate us back to the Nephilim and merge us with the Nephilim, and very, very strange. Very strange. Our genetics are being played with and tampered with. They're little mad scientists. They are mad scientists. Wow, hear this. This is Ted Cruz talking about America's deals with Israel.
Every year, the United States provides roughly $3 billion in military assistance to Israel. The benefit we get from that, the Mossad, the intelligence resources. You look at Iran, where they knew where every anti-aircraft weapon was, every military leader, every IRGC leader. That benefit, if America tried to replicate that intelligence network, it would cost us tens of billions of dollars. And I will tell you, every lunatic terrorist in Hamas or Hezbollah or Iran that Israel took out, made America safer, and the United States of America should say to that little nation, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's why, as a matter of public policy, we should support Israel.
that crazy to mess up our country and to help us infiltrate our own country. Horrible.
And the movie They Live in. There are certain sounds. There is a certain sound that they cannot stand. That they panic and they run away from. I know They Live, and in the movie They Live, and in They Live, there is a sound, there is a frequency, I don't know if you remember it towards the end, that Roddy Piper goes to, and it's a frequency that's being beamed out, which enables these aliens to look in human form. And when he breaks this frequency, then they're all seen. It alters the holographic projection that they're keeping. And I think it's a misconception that they are actually shape-shifting. Some are, but it's a misconception. Yeah. What they're actually doing is altering your visual cortex to make you think you're seeing them that way.
Absolutely, yes.
And this is very important as well, you know, because you can that's the truth. They're not actually looking that way. They've just manipulated your mind to think that they are.
And that must work through all kind of visual media. Otherwise, you'd see a lot of these aliens walking around on TV.
Absolutely, yeah. I've noticed a lot of newsreaders, because they're doing that as an indoctrination and conditioning. If you look at newsreaders, because they're the ones who are in your house every day. Look carefully at the newsreaders. It's slowly drip drip conditioning you to accept.
BBC is the worst, I think.
Yes, yeah. I've noticed since we've changed to digital now, my senses have become extremely heightened, and even when I'm just listening to the TV, or even when you turn the volume down, I hear this sound frequency coming from the television that completely messes with my pineal gland.
Definitely real. You know, there's always those talks of witches performing witchcraft and spells and illusions to make people see something that isn't there. Now, when we look at the Book of Enoch and all these other religious ancient texts, they say that the humanity got the witchcraft and all the magic and spells and illusions from these fallen angels, from these reptilian, these hybrid like entities. I don't think it's any different to these days. Wow, Owen Schroyer got his own show. Remember Owen Schroyer finally left InfoWars saying that he wasn't being paid enough. Supposed news story. Luigi Mangione got beaten up by 7 ladyboys in Thailand months before the assassination. This kind of looks unreal. So the new AI is capturing lighting, and this definitely looks too real in a way, where someone doesn't have that facial complexion and look, because people are so dead inside these days. So we are going to continue. 3i Atlas is making the rounds. That this definitely looks like a spaceship. Here, check it out again.
Where they have now shared the first ever close-up image of the 3i Atlas, which is said to be this massive mothership that's heading towards Earth, and supposedly it's going to get close to Earth exactly on 29th October 2025. Now, European Space Agency has just shared some new footage where this is basically what they've been sharing so far. And it's a massive mothership-like structure where in between there is just this one spot from which there is a massive light that's emanating out. Now, on October 3rd, this object literally flew extremely close to the planet Mars. And according to the European Space Agency, they've actually revealed this new photo, which is captured by the Mars rover, which they claim is a robot that just keeps driving around in the planet Mars. And as soon as this object got close to Mars, it ended up clicking a picture, and this is basically what it looks like. Now, as you can see, this whole thing has a cylinder expecting before. They said that it was going to be as big as a Manhattan city size, but now they've said that it's probably 1,000 times bigger than what they have previously expected. And the fun part is that this whole object, it only emits light from this particular spot for whatever reason, as though it's some sort of an engine that has an exit combustion, which almost makes the Harvard scientists believe that this could not just be some sort of a random comet, whereas they now
My dog is staring at me like a terrorist because she wants my food, and Misty isn't gonna get my food. But she's staring at me like she's about to attack. Jeez, my dog, I swear. All right, we're gonna keep going down. This is the information that I think we should be aware of as far as I don't, don't put your faith and don't like, sell out, but just be aware of what's really happening and what people are saying. Check this out. James O'Keefe exposes a $100 billion federal contracting scam where a minority-owned firm wins no-bid government contract but outsources 80% of the work illegally as a pass-through scheme. ATL's contract manager, Melanie Cromwell, spills the bean. Company only does 20% of the work. Subs handle 80%. Straight up violating rules, requiring firms to perform at least 50%. Over $100 million in government contracts scored with zero competition, part of a wider $100 billion scam ripping off the system. Scheme lets small disadvantaged firms act as middlemen, funneling work and grants and profits to giants while skirting bids. Check this out. Yeah, this is definitely a problem.
Special minority-owned status.
And I tell you, pass-throughs are a great thing as well. So a lot of our subcontractors bid on contracts that were perfect in their industry, but because they weren't Native American, they wouldn't win it. So we bid on it for them. They became our sub, and it's an automatic win because of your Native American status. Isn't that exciting? Right? A lot of people don't know that.
I don't think anybody knows that. We want to keep it that way.
That's right. That's right.
We want to keep
Exactly.
it a secret.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Taking the money in, subcontracting much of the work out.
I sit back, collect my percentage, and they do the work.
Correct. Yeah, they're doing most of the work.
Get the contracts, get the money, act as a pass-through, and it's the taxpayer who gets screwed over.
Was there some rules or something that you were telling me about? Like that you have to report 51%?
51% on paper. Correct. As long as it's on paper.
As long as it's on paper.
51%. You're good to go. And remember, there's no competition because you're Native American.
Ding, ding. That's the best kept secret.
It is indeed.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Go ahead. Here's to pass-throughs.
There you go.
How about that, man?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. In vino veritas.
James O'Keefe is a boss.
My name is James O'Keefe.
Turn that off.
She's like, oh shit.
Ain't no party like a Jim Keefe party.
What you're about to see is a microcosm of one of the biggest scams in American history. A scheme that could be costing taxpayers up to $100 billion every year. It's a system long described as an open secret in Washington, one that dwarfs the USAID fraud scandals in both scale and scope. At its center lies a government program created to empower minority-owned small businesses. But behind the facade, our investigation uncovers a network of so-called 8A pass-through schemes, shell companies exploiting those very programs for profit. According to the SBA, the Biden-Harris administration awarded more than $630 billion in federal contracts to these companies, with over $183 billion in 2024 alone. Our undercover investigation reveals how these firms secured no-bid federal contracts.
No bidding because of your native status.
Skim over half of the money off the top.
65% of the money.
And subcontract nearly all the work.
So we do about 20% of the work.
Defrauding taxpayers like you and betraying the very communities these programs were meant to uplift. ATI Government Solutions is a technology services company that acquires contracts to provide federal departments with next-generation computing solutions. ATI acquires hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars for these contracts and have been particularly successful in this due to their supposed Native American 8A tribal status, meaning they're a Native American-owned small business which is heavily favored by federal contracts.
Very fake. Try the other one.
We went undercover and arranged meetings with multiple employees to dig deeper into the truth behind their ownership, their small business status, and their excessive use of subcontractors.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. That's better, yes.
And what we found was more damning than we ever expected.
I'm Jim. Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you,
Nice to meet you.
Jim O'Keefe.
We posed as a cybersecurity company which was attempting to procure government contracts through minority-owned status, similar
Well, they didn't
to
catch
ATI.
it. They fell
The
for it.
ploy was to approach
I'm
the
so-
employee
my
for
mind is
ATI,
boggled.
not for a meeting about
He named
contracts,
himself
but about
Jim Deep. What
obtaining
a
catering for a
boss.
corporate event. You see, Melaine Cromwell at ATI also on the side runs a catering business called Ragin' Cajun Catering.
So I got into government contracting. I love what I did. I helped large and small companies win contracts with the government.
I want you to talk about gumbo. I want to get to the good stuff. I mean, this is interesting.
No
I
way,
mean,
I'm not
it's a little
dumb.
bit boring for me.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I'm excited to talk to you about vacation.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were shocked that almost immediately in the meeting, less than 2 minutes in, Melaine Cromwell at ATI told us all her the director of contracts for ATI.
And what was in that job? What was your title or your role there?
I'm the director of contracts.
You're the director?
Uh-huh.
The director?
The director.
So there's no one above you in the contracts?
There's no one above me.
Melaine Cromwell goes on to explain that because ATI is supposedly Native American owned, they are heavily favored by government contracts and often acquire $100 million contracts with no bidding war. This enables them to, quote, pass through the majority of the work to companies that wouldn't usually be eligible, while keeping the majority of the compensation for themselves.
And I tell you, pass-throughs are a great thing as well.
Tell me about those.
Well, so with pass-throughs, because you're Native American, right? If you have, there's a bid out and there's a company that wants to bid on it that's not Native American, all they do is partner with you. They use their people, you subcontract to them, right? They're your subs. So a lot of our subcontractors bid on contracts that were perfect in their industry, but because they weren't Native American, they wouldn't win it. So we bid on it for them. They became our sub, and it's an automatic win because of the government set aside. You automatically will win that contract because of your Native American status.
There's no bidding war.
No bidding war because of your Native status.
You get it.
You get it.
A pass-through scheme is when an 8A small business acts as a front to win government contracts meant for disadvantaged firms. Instead of actually doing the work, it passes the contract to a larger, ineligible company, violating SBA rules and defrauding the government and defrauding you, the taxpayers.
Isn't that exciting? Right?
So
a lot of people don't know that.
I don't think anybody knows that. We want to keep it that way.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Subcontracting out some of the development work isn't necessarily a crime. It's actually quite common. However, things appear to take a criminal turn when Melaine Cromwell confesses to us that ATI, the prime contractor here, will often do as little as 20% of the actual software development work and offload 80% of the work to their subcontractors.
I sit back, collect my percentage, and they do the work.
Correct. Yeah, they're doing most of the work.
The people you're subbing to do the majority of the work.
So we do about 20% of the work.
So ATI do 20%, and those subcontractors do like 80% of the work.
80% of the work.
I don't know if you want to share that they do all the work.
No.
No. Don't want to share that.
So we're here outside ATI Government Solutions. This is the building in Frederick, Maryland, where I'm standing, the ATI Government Solutions. is housed out of. Now, according to the federal acquisition regulations, specifically the limitations of subcontracting clause FAR 52.21914, the prime contractor in a government contract must do at least 51% of the work. This is more broadly referred to as the 51% rule, and this is what ATI Government Solutions appears to be violating. ATI has a special classification from the SBA that gives the company access to government contracts without competitive bidding. It's called an 8A, a small business that is at least 51% owned by, quote, U.S. citizens that are socially and economically disadvantaged. On paper, ATI is owned by the Susanville Indian Rancheria, a federally recognized Native American tribal entity in Northern California. So does the Susanville Indian Rancheria actually own ATI? And what role, if any, do they actually hold besides appearing as 51% owners on paper?
This is the webpage for SFSI, ATI.
Oh, ATI. I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, that's our technology department.
Well, in order to answer that question, we went undercover to meet with the head of the Susanville Indian Rancheria, Arian Hart, and discussed exactly how the business arrangement would work if we wanted them to appear to be the owners of our imaginary company to help us gain government contracts, much like ATI does.
We just want to get government contracts. So we need the Native Americans' ownership to be able to obtain that.
It makes it easier to get into the 8A contracting, for sure. Yes.
Arian confirms that if they were to appear as the owners of our company, it would make it easier to obtain government contracts. Arian goes on to claim that we may need to relinquish 51% of the ownership to them.
So really, it's really just coming up with a number that you would want in order to appear to be the owner of our company.
Right, and some of that will be determined by the 8A corporation. So we may have to be like 51% owners, right?
Melaine Cromwell confirms that ATI is abiding by this 51% tribal ownership on paper.
Was there some rules or something that you were telling me about, like that you have to report 51%?
51 on paper, correct.
Right.
Yeah.
But in reality,
right, exactly. Yeah. As long as it's on paper.
As long as it's on paper.
51%, we're good to go.
ATI may be 51% tribally owned on paper, but Melaine revealed to us that ATI was founded in collaboration with the Rancheria by two Caucasian DC executives, Firmage Crutchfield and Scott Deutschman, and that they manage all of ATI's operations. According to a 2024 article featured on Washington Technology, Firmage openly states, quote, "We met with Susanville Indian Rancheria and formed ATI under their 8A umbrella, and we've never looked back." Firmage also states, quote, "We have been around tribal organizations most of our careers, and they are very strong government contractors."
So you report to the CEO?
I did.
What is his name?
Firmage Crutchfield.
He's the head
He's the CEO
of
ATI.
Have you met him?
I have, yeah, he's my boss.
Now, is he a Native American gentleman? Or?
He's not, no. Believe it or not, he was born and raised in
Unique
Washington,
name.
D.C. Yeah, very much so, yeah.
What's the name again?
Firmage. And this is his fiance. She looks super young.
Oh my God,
But
she's so, look, she's the CFO.
she was an
and she's
Olympic swimmer.
No
Now,
way.
I'm Division I basketball, right? I said I never did anything on the Olympic
No
level.
way.
So she's the
an Olympic
fiance,
swimmer.
she's the fiance of
Firmage. Isn't that something? But of course, during my interview, I'm talking to both of them. Neither is mentioning that to me, of course. On my first day at work, and she says, "Melaine, you don't know this, but Firmage and I are engaged." And I was like, "Oh, congratulations!" Right? But
how easy is that, right? CFO and CEO.
That's nice work if you can get it.
I
mean,
think
it is
so.
nice work.
This is juicy gossip. I love it.
No, this is fact. This is not gossip.
With Firmage Crutchfield as CEO, his fiancée, Olympic swimmer Marina Molyayeva, as CFO, and his business partner Scott Deutschman as CDO, it becomes clear that the Susanville Indian Rancheria has almost no involvement in the actual operations of ATI. Arian Hart then confirms to us that in the case of ATI, they are sole proprietors, and that anyone working for ATI works for the tribe, acknowledging that, quote, we are the owner, they do the work.
Burbridge Crutchfield, he's our CEO for that company.
And so what is your role with them?
The tribe itself?
Yeah.
So we are the owner of that company, right? We're the owner of all those 8A companies. We are the sole proprietor, I guess, right? So the company does, they go out and get their contracts, do the business, develop that company, go out and get jobs and work for the tribe.
But you don't do any of the work.
Well,
they do it.
They do the work, yes.
The undercover journalist then proposes that we would like to make a similar arrangement with the tribe, and Arian reaffirms that the tribe itself will not be doing any of the work. They would literally be taking 51% of the company for the sole purpose of allowing us to pose as Native American owned, because it puts you to the front of the line for acquiring those government contracts.
We would do the work, and then you get a percentage of the profits.
Right. Yeah. Okay. We have the ability to get the contracts, and that's probably the most important thing.
On the surface, this sounds like a well-meaning endeavor by the federal government to bolster minority involvement in profitable industries like construction and software development. However, as you see here, it incentivizes a system which companies have to seek out a Native American tribe to pose as 51% owners in order to obtain a sufficient amount of government contracts, surrendering 51% of the profits to a Native American tribe that does 0% of the work, effectively doubling the cost of the contract for the American taxpayer and having the financial compensation for the person doing the actual labor. Just this past May, in the case of Kousisis versus U.S., Stamatios Kousisis, an Alpha Painting and Construction company, secured Pennsylvania Department of Transportation contracts. Despite a satisfactory contract performance, they had deceived the government and their compliance with the disadvantaged business enterprise, and were therefore convicted of wire fraud and conspiracy for fraudulent inducement. The Supreme Court, in an opinion by Justice Amy Coney Barrett, clarified that the wire fraud statute focuses on a scheme to obtain money or property through deception. Justice Sotomayor's concurrence likened it to a fan deceived into buying Mets tickets when promised Yankees tickets, emphasizing deception over loss. As unsettling as all this sounds, there's actually another layer. According to USAspending.gov, ATI has exponentially grown their profits over the last 6 years, from about $2 million in 2019 to $100 million this year. According to the SBA, or Small Business Administration regulations, if an 8A company exceeds a personal net worth of $850,000, an adjusted gross income of $400,000, or assets totaling $6.5 million, then the SBA no longer considers it a small business. Mullane explained that that's when Crutchfield found a new, quote, small business and starts the process all over again.
Burbridge has been very smart in that he never exceeds the small business threshold, right? So once he gets close to the threshold, he starts another company.
They give you so many years to make so much money, to do so good. And then once you get to that point, they stop. Then you have to develop another corporation to get that one going, right? So you kind of always, before one ends, you start another one to keep on going. So you just change the name, start a new company, and then you're back into the system.
We met up with Mullane a second and third time and eventually revealed that we were undercover journalists doing a story on the potential corruption throughout ATI's operations. So we have some news for you here, okay? We're actually investigative reporters. My name is James O'Keefe. I'm an investigative reporter, and you're on about. Okay, we can, but just. And it's important to note that Mullane Cromwell, Director of Contracts, repeatedly stated that everything we secretly recorded her saying was just her opinion. She reiterated that many times after I took off my wig and identified myself as an investigative reporter. We'll be releasing that interaction with Mullane, along with part 2 of this story, featuring another employee at ATI later this week. Stay tuned for that.
Here's to pass-throughs.
There you go.
How about that? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. In vino veritas. You like a Jim Keefe party.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. I can't believe that. This is unbelievable. She said 20%. They only do 20% of the work.
I heard that part. I was like, boom.
She said, don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
50 only on paper. She said, only on paper.
Only on amazing.
Only on paper. She said, pass-throughs.
Yes.
She said, but we don't want that to leave this. She says, loopholes, pass-throughs. We only do 20% of the work.
Yes.
I mean, this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. We got the story, man. I'm very proud of my team. This story took us about 6 months to do, and I hear your comments that nothing ever happens to these people, that nothing will come of this. Nobody will be arrested. I hear you loud and clear, and let me say that I am on your side, but this is kind of unprecedented here. This is a lot of bureaucracy. These fact patterns about 8As and super 8As and government subcontractors and 51% rules, it gets complicated real fast, and people lose interest real fast. But what isn't complicated is this individual encouraging people to stay quiet about breaking the law, saying she does not want the public to know that they're taking advantage of you and fleecing the taxpayer. So we have now done our job. We have caught people on tape with indisputable, incontrovertible, videotaped evidence of fraud and corruption.
One thing about James O'Keefe is that they don't, and the Veritas, they don't pull any punches. They show you their videos. They're very outspoken, very open. And they have done this multiple times where they've exposed corruption. And they are the best. They are the best at it, I'll be honest. I love their work. I love their work. You know what's crazy? So it says only 9%. Let's see. This is from the Sean Ryan show. Let's hear this craziness.
Of women said yes, it is.
40%. Hold on, what about the G-spot?
Intercourse is not the most pleasurable activity for women. We asked women, is intercourse the most pleasurable activity for you? I want you to guess what percentage of women said yes, it is.
40%.
9.
Wait, what? 9%?
Say that intercourse is the most pleasurable activity for them.
No kidding.
Here's why. It's because when we're having intercourse, we're getting stimulation in our vagina. And our vaginas do not have very many nerve endings in them. Like, think about how intense childbirth is. If we had even more nerve endings there, that would not be a good thing. The most sensitive part of our body as women is the clitoris. The clitoris has about 8,000 to 10,000 nerve endings in it, and compare that to the penis as 2,000 to 3,000. The comparison that I always like to make is that intercourse for a woman, it's like playing with a man's balls. That might be fun, that might feel good, but is it going to be enough stimulation for you to have an orgasm? Definitely not.
Hold on, what about the G-spot?
Intercourse is not the most pleasurable activity.
Just to be mature about it, I do agree where people are losing sense of passion and lust and sex and procreation because they've gotten brainwashed to only think it's just a quick intercourse and you impregnate them and you're done. And the whole idea of love and passion and finding each other's rhythms is thrown out the window because, they just want it A and B. But it's very more intricate. Our sensuality, our body, how we are pleased. There seems to be a whole array, touching, rubbing, kissing, playing with the hair, playing with body parts, all this, right? Because that's more of the human nature, right? So, I mean, I didn't know that the clitoris had more nerve stimulation factor than the actual vagina, but it makes sense though because, as a man, taking my time and like appreciating a woman's body, I see more happiness in them instead of just like rushing the moment. Like, that's what I mean. Like taking, you're being more sensual, kissing, touching, all this. Like, women want that. Women love it. And, as more of a romantic man, definitely like, this sex and passion shouldn't just be so in and out, quick, put your pants on, pay me $50, like that type of. That's what it is in society. These OnlyFans and just the way that porn. Like you see these porn videos. It's just, and it's not passion. It's just quick lust, and boom, you're done. And it's kind of like degrading people's ideas on love too. People don't want to have sex or be in love anymore, and probably because they're losing the idea of actual passion and love making, instead of like, and it's being replaced by this sense of artificiality, this sense of quickness. And I know this topic might be a bit uncomfortable for a lot of people, but it's, look at our state, look at the state of the world. People are not making love, people are not having kids, people are rejecting this whole idea of sex talk, and for the passion, and a man and woman can procreate. They're trying to replace all of it. Like, you can become a they, you don't have to have kids, and kids are bad, and sex is overrated, but like, it's just more division, more degrading. We're going to continue forward. So
we found $31 billion. Again, last week, as you know, they found $31 billion. They came to see me, sir. We found $31 billion. They said, we don't know why. I said, was this a good find or a bad find? It was a good find. It was a plus 31. We're used to finding negative 31s, right, for the last 30 years. I said, check the tariff shelf. Well, those tariffs haven't kicked in. Yes, they did. They kicked in 2 months ago. Check it. He comes back 2 hours later. Sir, you were right. We have an additional $31 billion, billion, not million, Lindsay, billion, that we just found from tariffs. They kicked in earlier than we thought. You were right. We're a wealthy nation again, and we're a nation that can be secure. Again, last week, as you know, they found $31 billion. They came to see me, sir. We found $31 billion. They said,
all right, why the number 31 billion? I mean, okay, let's just say it's hypothetically real, but like 31 billion, what's our country gonna do with that? We're in debt 7 trillion. 31 billion to 7 trillion is like a sliver of pie out of the whole thing. Man, it almost seems like America is in a debt that they just cannot get out of. Check this out. Report: planes and helicopters are dropping millions of live genetically engineered rabies vaccine baits.
Airdropping oral rabies vaccine.
Remember how I covered last year during the fog and during the strange fogs that were showing up? In Florida, there was a scientist, a doctor, who tested this fog, or tested the genetic material inside of the fog that was being dropped down from the sky, and it had genetic material. It had viruses and different things. So let's hear this.
In 6 states.
Well, this is from the Department of Agriculture. The United States Department of Agriculture is dropping oral rabies vaccines in states to stop the spread of rabies
in October in a bid to stop the spread of the potentially deadly virus. This is happening in Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia. And they are going to be the recipients of the airdropped vaccines this month in October, according to a statement from the agency. The USDA did not provide a starting date for the process. One project will cover areas in North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and a small area in West Virginia to distribute 634,000 oral rabies vaccine baits via vehicles, airplanes, and helicopters, the USDA said. Another 410,000 of the baits will be distributed in Western North Carolina and Northern Georgia. 690,000 baits will be dropped in Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee, and 718,000 baits will be distributed in parts of Northeast and Central Alabama. Several other states, including parts of Pennsylvania, Maine, Western New York, and Ohio, started receiving the vaccines in August, said the USDA. Part of Massachusetts started receiving vaccines in September. Areas in several other states, including portions of Maine, Western New York, Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, and other areas of West Virginia, began receiving vaccines in August. Wildlife rabies poses a significant risk to domestic animals such as livestock and pets, Dr. Michael Watson, USDA official involved in the program, said in a statement in August. And by reducing rabies, we are safeguarding human and animal health and so on and so forth. Now, you may think that that sounds perfectly okay. They've been doing this for a while, managing rabies. It's important to manage rabies. Take a look at this article from John Fleetwood on Substack, though. USDA.
Oh, sorry. Think my dog
drops
pressed.
live virus containing rabies edibles from helicopters, airplanes across the United States, leaving persons at risk for vaccine exposure and vaccine virus infection, CDC. Lab-engineered Frankenstein virus makes animals contagious for weeks, putting humans at risk and raising informed consent concerns. It says the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, or APHIS, has begun its annual distribution of Raboral VRG, an oral rabies vaccine, or ORV bait, dropping the live laboratory-made virus from airplanes and helicopters across the United States. The CDC has known for over a decade that Raboral edible vaccine leaves persons at risk for vaccine exposure and vaccine virus infection. Yet they still allow millions of live genetically modified virus baits to be dispersed over communities, forests, and waterways each year without any public notice, informed consent, or comprehensive biosafety oversight, posing potential risks to human health, wildlife, and national biosecurity. Americans are being involuntarily exposed to laboratory-engineered pathogens capable of infecting multiple species with no transparent risk disclosure or opt-out mechanism. Quote, APHIS and its cooperators will begin distributing ORV baits on or about August 13 across rural areas by airplane and in suburban or urban areas by helicopters, vehicle, and bait station, according to the USDA press release. It says that the ORV baits are coated with a fish meal attractant and are packaged in 2-inch plastic sachets or 1-inch square cubes. Now, the USDA actually warns that if humans come into contact with this, they should first of all immediately leave it alone. But if they happen to come into contact with it, they should immediately wash the contact area with warm water and soap. It also issues a warning to dogs that may consume the bait. And it says that a July 2019 peer-reviewed study in Vaccine confirms the Raboral oral rabies vaccine is a genetically engineered chimeric Frankenstein human virus expressing a rabies gene. It sheds for weeks in multiple species. It was not tested for live virus persistence. It can potentially infect non-target animals and humans. And it was studied by researchers financially tied to its sale. Most alarmingly, the study confirmed that virus DNA from the edible vaccines can be detected in both oral and rectal swabs post-inoculation in most animals, followed by a resurgence of shedding between days 17 and 34 in some species. This means that animals that ingest the oral vaccine are contagious to animals and humans for over a month. The virus-loaded bait will be distributed to during the following time periods and based out of airports in the cities listed below. And you can see, per the press release, John has listed all of those there. He says, in the name of wildlife management, the federal government is blanketing the nation with millions of live recombinant virus packets, turning America's skies into a mass biolab experiment conducted without public consent, transparency, or accountability. Again, people may say they've been doing this for years. This is how we control rabies, etc. My question back to them is, were you not promised to make America healthy again? Does that promise include removing poisons from our foods, skies, environment, or is it just a tagline? Because while efforts are underway by RFK Jr. for some reform, we're seeing Pfizer and AstraZeneca being given a redemption tour at the White House, Albert Bourla being praised by President Trump for the great work he did during COVID. Geoengineering is still taking place, and for some reason, Americans still have to tolerate lab-engineered viruses being dropped from aircraft, which they admit can and does shed to humans, with zero informed consent, which would include actual information about the potential short or long-term health outcomes of this practice. Has anyone in the government ever told you about those things, or do they just continue to run with the safe and effective line and we're supposed to just gobble that up? If we want actual reform, the distribution of any vaccines that have the ability to shed and cause unknown safety outcomes should have been immediately stopped day one. But with Brooke Rollins as the head of the USDA, it doesn't seem we're going to stop being subjected to potential poison anytime soon. We want to tell you about Block Trust IRA, bringing access to cryptocurrency wealth to real Americans. Their Animus AI trading platform works 24/7, analyzing market data and executing advanced crypto strategies that are beyond simply buy and hold, helping true Americans build impressive wealth. There's a reason their system was named the #1 crypto technology platform by Bitcoin Magazine from over 1,500 global competitors. Whether you're a teacher, truck driver, small business owner, or retiree watching inflation eat away your 401k, Block Trust IRA's advanced Animus AI gives red-blooded Americans the same advantages as those coastal elites. Right now, their clients are seeing over 250% returns on their investments, and with military-grade security, investments are protected by up to $200 million. Visit dailypulsecrypto.com and find out how they can help you join the financial revolution that's finally giving forgotten Americans access to the greatest crypto wealth opportunity in history. For a limited time, they're offering our viewers up to $2,500 in bonus crypto when you open an account. Crypto created 80,000 new millionaires last year. Why not you next? Visit dailypulsecrypto.com. That's dailypulsecrypto.com.
So it looks like Ireland is taking things into their on fire, and they are personally checking every vehicle that enters their city to see if there's immigrants, because a 10-year-old Irish girl was allegedly sexually assaulted and raped by an African migrant, and the authorities don't want to do anything about it because, oh well, we don't want to be racist. And this is the way they have their culture. You gotta respect it. No, get out of the country. Get out of the world. Just leave. These people are weird. Like, man, I can't believe that there's so many people and politicians who are willing to let child abuse go through. I cannot. I will not, and I will never stand for it. That's me. That's me. Here, let's
look how clean that line of sight is. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it's here in this mess of trees towards the bottom, and it just gets a nice line of sight over the highway, across the canal, right over to where President Donald J. Trump boards and deplanes the presidential plane. So I look at this, and I think, what is the best way to find out if this had been searched on Google Trends? I can't do a search for like mess of trees near Palm Beach Airport. That won't work. So I go back to the map. I should have done this before I killed the map. Let me go back here. I go back to the map. And I click on this building right here. This is the mess of trees I'm looking for right here. So this is the address to the mess of trees. It's in the backyard of this address. And I look, it's 3075 Gun Club West, West Palm Beach, Florida. 3075. So let's see. Let's do our infamous Google search. Let's see if it's there. Oh, I just realized the lighting sucks tonight. This is what happens when you try to go on short notice. Apologize for the lighting. I'm still looking for that that Adidas sponsorship showing off. I think this is my 6th consecutive Adidas sweatshirt color, if you guys are keeping track at home. But let me go to 3075 Gun Club Road. And I found a hit. 3075 Gun Club Road, West Palm Beach, Florida. So let me open this up and I'll show you the first hit. And here it is right here in the District of Columbia. 3075 Gun Club Road, West Palm Beach. This was the address. It was searched in September of 2021. You'll recall President Trump was no longer President Trump. He was former President Trump. He left office in January 20th at noon, January 20th, 2021. So I think there's not much to that. Wonder if he's been searched. Wonder if this address has been searched anywhere else. Perhaps our friends on the other side of the ocean who keep searching things for whatever reason. So, like any good, diligent, budding journalist, I go look, 3075 Gun Club Road, overseas in Israel, and I find a hit. I get a hit here in June or July, or late June, early July of 2024, and again in October of 2024. Now, I will draw your attention to something that happened between these two events. Again, this is the generic 3075 Gun Club Road. If you Google it, you'll see what I'm talking about. There aren't a lot of them out there. Not like every city has a 3075 Gun Club Road. I searched, the first like 10 searches all come up to West Palm Beach. But you could say to yourself, that's not exactly specific because it is actually in West Palm Beach. I'm going to come back to that one in just a second. So I look up 3075 Gun Club Road, West Palm Beach, just again to be specific, be more specific, be very specific, and I get a hit. Again, out of Israel, about the same time, March of 2024. March of 2024. Now, you guys remember what happened? Do you remember what happened in July of 2024? We have March of 2024, June of 2024, October of 2024. You guys remember the Butler Farm Show. If you don't remember, I will show you what Google Trends tells us about the Butler Farm Show, for that matter. The Butler Farm Show was in July of 2024. That's where President Trump got his ear clipped. That's where President Trump got his ear clipped, right here at 6025 Evans City Road, Butler, Pennsylvania. That is the address for the Butler Farm Show. And that was searched April of 2024. Now, here's why I want to draw your attention to this particular search. Because somebody in DC was searching this before it happened. Hey, who suggested covered and you let President Trump get his ear grazed? But this search makes sense to me. Now, if on the off chance this was before, if this was before Donald Trump decided to do the Butler Farm Show, a search originating out of DC for that exact address would cause me grave concern. Grave concern. I would be looking within my team saying, hey, who suggested this? Because somebody in DC was searching this before it happened. But I know how long presidential events take to plan. They take months, weeks, months. So the Butler Farm Show event took place, and I'm going to go back to what I was showing the first time here. The Butler Farm Show event took place between the two search nodes. This is kind of a bimodal distribution here. The two search nodes. So here you have out of Israel, 3075 Gun Club Road. This is June or July. This is before the event in Butler, Pennsylvania. And this is after the event when it's becoming pretty obvious Donald J. Trump will secure the presidency. And in between here is where he got his ear clipped in Butler, Pennsylvania. I'm just very curious who, using an Israeli IP address, was searching this location where we now know for a fact a sniper nest has been located. A sniper nest has been located. Now, it's possible. Let's look at all the alternative explanations. Somebody over in Israel gets very curious about the Palm Beach, what was it called? The Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, Forensic Sciences and Technology Building. That's possible. Somebody sitting over there, they only have an ongoing war with Gaza. They've got regional conflicts going on all around them, and maybe someone kicks their feet up on the desk and says, gentlemen, have we yet determined where the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office Forensic Sciences and Technology Building is located? I mean, it could be that easy. It could be that innocent. Could be. But one wonders, when you find a sniper nest located at that address, one wonders when you're searching the address the week before there's an assassination attempt on President Donald J. Trump's life, and then the week or two before the election, where it looks like he's probably going to win, one does wonder, is this related? Might this give the FBI, the Secret Service, Might this give Florida police, the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, might this give them something to start researching? Might they reach out to Google and say, who was performing these searches? Was this a VPN or was this somebody's house? And what other searches were run from that IP address in the immediate aftermath or immediate before? One would wonder these things. One would wonder these things. Again, I do this and have done this for a long time with news, with breaking news. This is not unusual. This is not unusual. But if I was going to take, let's just think counterfactually. If I was going to take a shot at someone, I would never. I want to be very clear, I would never. But if I was going to, maybe I would Google the address. Maybe I would Google the address. And if I did, that Google search might end up in Google Trends.
There's a door, open, a round door, you know, like in the Stargate. And I don't know if it's as big. Yeah, there is one picture that the person is quite small, actually, on it. You can go and look for those interested. Go and type CERN portal LHC door, and you will see. So in front of the door, they have a room. They probably have many doors, but they have a room, and they sit around the table. And I said, so yeah, what happened? He said, well, an entity came from this portal, and like
What?
it sat at the table. I was like, but how is this entity? What do you mean entity? Is it a person? Is it an alien? What color are they like us? And they couldn't answer anything. They said, no, it's not. We know. We just know it at CERN, and they cannot describe it, but they have it secondhand. It's not third, fourth. It's a very good friend who knows.
That's very.
Okay, I have to find something more because that's not enough. I mean,
Even she knows it's not enough. I mean, she is a scientist, you know.
I said, can you have proof? And is there a proof that they bring that they give something? There's some document, and they said that this entity the second time took a scarf and left a scarf. I said, what type of scarf? And they don't know. They're not into the detail. They were really into the event and not the detail. And this entity left again. So that's the short scoop that started me going and trying to look for that. And so there's a door open.
I'm trying to see.
Wolverines, you guys are awesome. Hey, from the standpoint of Y-Refi, I want to just say, being a part of Turning Point, having the opportunity to sponsor an event like this, we're going to be going on tour with Charlie. It's going to be a ton of fun. It's super exciting. And when it comes to you guys, how many
That's a lot of people, Utah, I'll tell you what.
President here.
This is something like not political, but I think you like talking about it. Are aliens a religious or extraterrestrial subject?
They're spiritual entities.
They're spiritual beings.
Is my view, yes. And I don't think they're from another planet. I don't think there's any evidence of that, or perhaps they are, but they've been resident here for recorded history, and there's every reason to believe for eternity. And this is my belief. And I think there's a lot there. There's also a lot of lying about it and official disinformation designed to confuse people or make you look ridiculous. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that you read about that subject that was put there in order to get you off the trail. And I'm not guessing at this. Some of it's been declassified. There's been a persistent 75-year effort by the United States government to confuse the population about what these things are that we can see in the sky. And many people have seen. But after looking into it, pretty extensively for a number of years, off camera, my conclusion is that they are the spiritual entities that are described, in the Old Testament, in Ezekiel, but also, I would say, in the sacred texts of all kinds of religions around the world. This is not, basically, I'll stop at this, but our culture is anomalous in the sense that we exclude the possibility of a spiritual realm. And that's only been true in the United States since August of 1945 when we dropped the atom bomb, which was the turning point in history, in my opinion. And it was the beginning of the total destruction of the West, which unfortunately we're witnessing now. And that destruction began with, the same lie that begins all destruction, which is I am God. Hubris is the end, always. It was the point of the Tower of Babel. It's the end of every leader. Every leader who's like, I'm very powerful, I have godlike powers, that leader will be destroyed. And a nation that believes that will be destroyed. And the atom bomb gave us the sense, the false sense, very false sense, that we had absolute power, dominion over nature and mankind itself. And we started making a lot of really bad decisions. And one of the results of that was faith died in the United States. It's resurging now, thank God, literally. But for my whole childhood, I was born in 1969, the year that we walked on the moon. And just kidding, sort of, maybe. I have no idea. I'm not going to find out. I'm not going to find out. I've got enough problems. I don't want to know. But anyway, the point is, I was born that year, and for my entire life up until recently, like no one I knew in my world, which is like, you know, coastal, affluent, well-educated, not that I'm well-educated, but everyone else around me is, no one ever like talked about God at dinner. That was like the spiritual realm was like kind of a joke that like is kind of a trailer park belief or who knows what. They're handling snakes, they make TV shows about, like no one believed that. And when you don't believe that, you kind of miss everything because it is real, whether you want it to be or not. That's literally real. It's absolutely real. It's as real as this podium. And so to someone living even 100 years ago, the idea that these are, of course, angels, demons, they're manifestations of the spiritual battle ongoing since the beginning of time, that would have been obvious. And instead we're like, maybe they flew in rocket ships from Mars. So do we have a telescope powerful enough to detect that? Oh, shut up. You're missing the obvious, dude. So.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is something.
Looks like my mic was muted for a bit, but thank you guys for watching this podcast, this broadcast. Check this out. This
Canadian on Earth at any given time, some of them under constant surveillance. Everyone on those screens is an alien. Identification of every registered alien on Earth at any given time, some of them under constant surveillance. Everyone on those screens is an alien.
So alien, Al Roker, seems like some of these biggest people on Earth.
In public, they're as normal as you are, but in private, well, you'll get the idea. This map shows the location of
Very interesting stuff, man. This is just a chill episode, you know, brushing by ideas and news pieces and collection of clips. Thank you guys for staying tuned. Thank you guys for staying true. Please like, subscribe, and share. Tell everybody around that this is going down. I air at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Thursday. And I air to Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. On other platforms, my content may appear. So just look for me on the internet and you will see me. Thank you guys. Be blessed. Be high. See you guys next time on the 509 Divine Pines podcast. Peace. I love you guys.